Welcome to another Sloan's Wilderness Expeditions full-length travel vlog. You may have already seen the individual hikes from our summer road trip. Now sit back and see everything that happened to get us there. The scenic drives, the wildlife encounters, the roadside attractions, the camp locations, and all the shenanigans in between. Come along for the adventure from Indiana to Montana. Reservations required. Hey guys, and welcome to another Sloan's Wilderness Expeditions summer road trip. These are always epic, so stick around. Right now we're about 400 miles into a road trip. We're somewhere in Wisconsin right now at an area called the Black River Scenic Overlook. Check that out, stretching our legs a little bit before we hit the road and keep going. So come along. We had a hard time deciding where our summer 2023 road trip would take us. We flip-flopped for months trying to come up with a plan. But in mid-June, less than 2 weeks before our trip was to begin, a new option opened up for us. Glacier National Park had opened their Going to the Sun Road much earlier than anticipated, and we've been trying to get there for the past 4 years, before the pandemic hit and changed everything. So I did some quick research and came up with a rough plan for our summer road trip. We would be taking a route that we've never been on before, so we allowed time to be able to explore just a bit along the way. So we have driven somewhere around 850 miles so far, and yet we're still somehow in the Midwest. Now, of course, that's partly because a lot of our drive is going north. We are in North Dakota now. First time we've ever been in this state, huh, Catfish?
Yes.
Now, even though technically we're in the Midwest, right now it feels like we are in the Old West. We are in Jamestown, at the old frontier town. So as cool as the old village here at Jamestown, North Dakota is, that's not actually what brought us here. This is the home of the world's largest buffalo.
Bison.
Don't pet the fluffy cow! World's largest buffalo. Not a typical kind of adventure we would do, but you know, when it's right on your way, you gotta stop and see it. We continued west on I-94 with intermittent rain most of the way. After traveling 998 miles, we pulled into a rest area just outside of New Salem, North Dakota, and got us some much needed rest. Good morning, fellow expeditionists. Day 2 on our summer road trip. We spent the night at just a little rest area here off of I-94, and we are up early today. And of course, yesterday we stopped at that roadside attraction there at the world's largest buffalo and such. And we're going to do one more roadside attraction this morning before we hit our main attraction for the day. The Enchanted Highway is located in western North Dakota, with its northern entrance just off of Interstate 94 at exit 72. The highway and its massive sculptures extend south for 32 miles to the town of Regent, North Dakota. So the very first sculpture here on the Enchanted Highway is geese in flight. All of these were made with scrap metal by one man from the town of Regent, North Dakota. At first, I wasn't sure how interested I was in using our limited time to drive the full 32 miles to see all the sculptures. But the further we went, the more interesting and intricate they were. One even holds the Guinness World Record for the world's largest scrap metal sculpture. have made it to the end of the Enchanted Highway. We are here in Regent, North Dakota. Very small town, has that very much old prairie town feel to it still to this day. And behind me here we have the Enchanted Highway gift shop and the final display currently from the artist, the Whirligigs. The Enchanted Highway was a lot cooler than I was expecting, honestly. There's really neat stuff there. Now I feel like it's totally worth the little side trip to check out. It also gives a little bit of time for the area here in North Dakota we're in to dry out a little bit, because it got soaked yesterday. It was just a flooding type of rain. So we know getting into our next destination, the trails and such, are probably going to be quite muddy. So we'll see what that does to affect our plans for the day. Okay folks, we've made it to the Theodore Roosevelt National Park. First time ever here, obviously. We scheduled one day to explore this park. We'll see how much we can see. Right now we're at the Painted Canyon Visitor Center, so let's check out what kind of views we got. Views over the Painted Canyon are pretty cool, no doubt about that. I hear that the north unit, which is like 50 miles north, has the best badland formations and some of the best trails. So that may be where we end up finding ourselves eventually today. We left the Painted Canyon Visitor Center and headed into the south unit of the park. It's a beautiful drive, lots of rolling hills, cliffs, and river views. But the only wildlife we were seeing were a few prairie dog towns. Alright, we really wanted to do the north unit today. I'm not sure we're going to have time for that. We are currently in the south unit of the park. Just doing a little cruise around the scenic loop, seeing what we can see out here.
Hey Dad, I think I see some wild horses.
Oh sweet, let's go check that out. These Mustangs are descendants of the first horses brought here by the early pioneers. When the area was turned into a national park, there was an effort to trap and relocate them, but some always got away, and in 1970, the Park Service decided to leave them as they were part of the park's history. However, in 2022, the National Park Service once again started plans to eliminate the horses from the national park lands, as they don't consider them to be native to the area. I'm pretty happy we got to see them while they're still here. There are some great views here in the South District. The scenic loop is closed at the other end, so we are just going to turn around and head back out and make our way towards the north unit. Let's do it. All right, we made the long trek up to the north unit here at Theodore Roosevelt National Park. It is a beautiful, absolutely stunning terrain and scenery here. We're out really just doing the tourist thing, honestly. Kind of doing the scenic drives and seeing what we can see and hoping to find some wildlife. And I don't know, that may be what our experience is on this particular trip. You know, it's just kind of one of those exploratory journeys for us, seeing what's here and get ideas. We are at the Stone Concretion area. Just going to check out some really interesting rocks. It's right along the Buckhorn Trail. And the Buckhorn Trail is like 10 or 11 miles long. We don't have time enough to do that, especially in the middle of the day in the heat. But we are definitely going to check out at least a little bit of it, just to get an idea of what it's like on this landscape here at Theodore Roosevelt National Park.
So these are called cannonball formations.
Yes, they are, and you can see why. And they're all over the wall here just slowly eroding their way out, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, this whole wall here's got some really cool formations. Beyond just the cannonball formations, it's just got a lot of neat erosional type structures. All right, we only did maybe a mile and a half here on the Buckhorn Trail, coming from the Cannonball area. Like I said, we are late in the day and don't have time to do full trails right now. We're just here to get an idea of what Theodore Roosevelt is about. And it's pretty sweet, I gotta admit. I do like it. It's got some interesting terrain, interesting plant life and animal life, and we're enjoying it. We're now at the River Bend Overlook. It's supposed to be one of the most iconic views here at Theodore Roosevelt. We have come to the end of the scenic drive here in the north unit of the Theodore Roosevelt National Park. And we are now at the Oxbow Overlook, and it is something to behold. All right, so far here in the North District, we haven't seen a whole lot of wildlife. Until now, we finally ran across a single buffalo. We are driving some back roads here right outside of Theodore Roosevelt, looking for a boondocking area. We haven't really decided if we're going to boondock somewhere or go back and see if there's campsites available in the grassland. So first we're going to check out this boondocking site. I had bookmarked a potential boondocking site that I had found on the iOverlander app, but as we pulled up to it, it didn't look particularly well used, and I just wasn't sure about the terrain after all the rain we had had, with more rain predicted. checked out that one potential boondocking spot. Doesn't look like anybody's been in there in a while. It looks pretty overgrown, but it's definitely there, and it is an option. We could stay there. Our only fear is we're probably going to be leaving in the morning before daybreak and trying to get out some of that hilly and grassy area there, and especially if it was to rain, could potentially be a problem. So just in case, we're going to go back and check out one or two of these national grasslands campgrounds, see what they have available. We are in the Summit Campground here in the Little Missouri National Grasslands. This little spot here is only a couple miles south of the north unit of Theodore Roosevelt National Park. And it looks like there's only like 3 sites here, and it appears to be a free dispersed camp area, primitive camp area. And yeah, it's perfect. It's got a little bit of road noise because we're only about 1,000 feet or so away from the Highway 85, but we're used to road noise from spending nights in rest areas and such. It looks like there's a trail here in the area, and it looks like there could be some viewpoints we're going to check out. Let's go. Come on through, mister. Heck yeah, that's awesome, isn't it, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks like a super nice little viewpoint behind Summit Campground here. We might have to pull our camp chairs out back here and watch the sunset if the sky clears at all, or maybe even come out here for the dark skies. All right, we had us a little bit of dinner at the campsite tonight, some really simple things, but now we're coming out here to get us a nice, easy sunset. Well, good morning, fellow expeditionists. We had a good night sleeping here at the Summit Campground in the Little Missouri National Grassland, just on the outer edge of Theodore Roosevelt National Park. But we are getting ready to hit the road again. We're heading further west, so see where the road takes us. It was to be another major travel day. More than 500 miles separated us from our next destination. Crossing northern Montana would be a new experience for us, but for the most part, it looked pretty much the same as the Midwest we had now left behind us. Lots of fields and rolling prairies, with some hills along the Missouri River in the far distance. We are now in Montana. We are currently in the prairies of eastern Montana. This is technically only the second time we've ever entered the state, and the first time barely counts. That was in 2019 during one of our Yellowstone adventures when we went off into West Yellowstone, Montana, as well as Gardner, Montana, and that is the limit of our experience with the state of Montana. Today we are crossing it. We are driving all the way North Dakota up to Glacier. We've been trying to get to Glacier for the past 4 years. And 20 and 21, it was pretty much shut down due to the pandemic. 22, we just ran into other issues. I think gas prices were outrageous in 22, like $5 a gallon. So here we are. And the funny thing is, 2 weeks ago, this was not our plan. We were going to be going to probably the Black Hills and maybe on over to Yellowstone. Similar trip to what we did in 2019. You know, we had considered a lot of other things as well, though. We considered going northeast, back up to upstate New York. We had even considered the American Southwest, but we kind of figured it'd be too hot, you know. But about 2 weeks ago or so, the Going to the Sun Road in Glacier National Park opened. It opened early. They had a lighter than normal snowpack and a very warm spring, melting off a lot of the snow, allowing them to open the main scenic drive well ahead of the normal schedule of early July. So we changed our plans. This is our year to finally get to Glacier. We're heading that way, and we're going to be exploring this state along the way. Super excited about that. We have been driving for 9+ hours. Took Highway 2 out of North Dakota all the way across northern Montana, and let me just say that is one very long, very boring drive. But look where we are now. We're on the east side of Glacier National Park. We finally made it, Catfish.
We made it.
We arrived at the eastern terminus of the Going to the Sun Road at St. Mary. Many popular entrances to the park require timed reservations during peak season, but here on the east side, those reservations aren't required until July 1st. So we had the next 4 days to freely come and go, and we plan to make the most of it. Where are we at, Catfish?
We're at Glacier National Park.
That's right. We have been long wanting to get to Glacier here in Montana. And after all these years of plans falling through, we are here. Literally, we didn't have plans for it at all 2 weeks ago. And things just opened up right, and we made it.
Yep.
We're going to check out the St. Mary's Visitor Center right now and make plans for the week. We picked up some park maps, a can of bear spray, and checked the latest trail info. But my mind was also preoccupied with where we would be spending the night. Well, guys, this is not one of our no reservation adventures, believe it or not. Since we made plans here at Glacier, it really worried me trying to find boondocking sites. There's lots of them well south of the park, well west of the park, but I wanted to make sure we had something, and I found that Johnson's of St. Mary's had a lot of cool tent sites available, so we made the reservations like a week ago, and we are here now. We got a little bit of some views back there, but if you go over this hill, you got mountain views, you got lake views, and it's actually a really nice campground. They got more amenities than we're used to, that's for darn sure. So let the fun begin. While I did make reservations a week earlier, it was for 4 nights, which wasn't to begin until tomorrow. But since we were so close, I stopped in at the office and they were able to get us in a day early. It's just so much easier knowing we have a place to come back to every night instead of searching for a boondocking site in the national forest to the south. Well, we got checked into our campground, got tent set up, and it's just going to be a base camp for us, of course, because we're going to be out in all of this as much as we can. So, of course, we had a little bit of daylight left. We had to come out and get at least a little bit of views. We're currently on the northeastern section of the Going to the Sun Road. We'll do the whole thing probably a few times over the next week, but yeah, this is just amazing. Well, it's been a pretty long day driving across Montana. A lot longer of a state than you realize, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Really wide state. It's darn near 500 miles from Theodore Roosevelt National Park. And mostly it's just boring. But we got here. We were in Glacier. Catfish, what is your first impression so far of Glacier?
Looks pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of Yosemite, but more like the Rockies.
It's kind of a cross between Yosemite and the Rockies, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something else. I see why everybody I've talked to that's been here says it's kind of like the ultimate when it comes to national parks, mountainous national parks in the lower 48. Obviously, the mountains of Alaska are incomparable. I don't know if we'll ever make it there or not, but yeah, we've seen a lot of the Rockies from, down the South Colorado all the way up through Grand Tetons and Yellowstone. And just my initial thoughts on it going into the St. Mary entrance is just, wow. Those jagged peaks with the lakes inside there, man, that's just amazing. I understand why it's so popular. And that's the thing right there. Glacier is so popular. So we're going to make the most of our next few days here. Well, good morning, fellow expeditionists. We had a great night sleeping there at the campground last night. Probably my best sleep, honestly, of our whole trip so far. This is our 4th day now on this road trip, our first full day in Glacier National Park. We are currently in the Many Glacier area, getting ready to do our first serious hike of this road trip. Let's hit it. We're heading up Iceberg Lake. The Many Glacier area is possibly the most popular hiking area in the park, and that's where our journey would begin. The hike to Iceberg Lake is just shy of 10 miles round trip, with an elevation gain of 1,400 feet.
We hiked for a wildflower display unlike anything we had seen before. The wildflowers included Indian paintbrush, lupine, aspen fleabane, shrubby cinquefoil, and many more. But the one that really stood out was the bear grass that was in full bloom. Interesting fact, it's not actually a grass and bears don't like it in particular.
This was the last week of June, so some trails were still closed due to snow hazards. We were actually pretty lucky that it had been a warmer than usual spring, melting off a lot of the snow earlier than anticipated. All right, Iceberg Lake, this is really cool. When we first got here, we even got to see one of the little icebergs out there flip over. That was pretty neat, huh?
Yeah, that was.
Mostly we've been sitting here just entertained by the views and watching all of our fellow hikers here jumping in the lake. I think it's kind of like a rite of passage, but you know what? I ain't doing it. How about
Me
you?
neither.
We began our descent down from Iceberg Lake, making our way back through the pine forest. But the weather was being very finicky. Sun shining in one moment, then rain showers the next. A hiker coming up the path let us know that a moose was ahead and over the hill, a perfect photo opportunity. But as we approached, the moose suddenly sprang up onto the trail, barely 50 feet in front of us. We joined our fellow hikers in climbing up the hill a bit and just enjoying this wildlife opportunity. So yeah, we just had a moose come up off the side of the hill right onto the trail, literally about 50 feet in front of us. So yeah, we had to back up and go off to the side of the cliff for a little bit there. After the moose moved on, it wasn't long until we spotted a bear not too far off the trail, but we couldn't tell if it was a grizzly or a cinnamon black bear. But it was far too close to the trail to be safe, so we didn't stick around. Alright, we are kind of recovering right now from our awesome Iceberg Trail hike this morning. Just amazing experience. We're still here in the Many Glacier area, and we're going to check out the lodge. The Many Glacier Lodge is kind of a historic building, and we just want to see it. It's just such a beautiful area. Many Glacier Lodge is really cool, old, historic, almost like a Swiss style lodge. Makes it really neat. Stopped in at the gift shop, picked up a book about the death and survival in Glacier National Park. The lady in the gift shop actually told us we'll never want to hike again if we read it. So yeah, we're going to read it. After an awesome day of hiking and wildlife encounters, we headed back to Johnson's of St. Mary Campground to relax and recuperate. Good morning. This is day 5, I think. It's all starting to run together. But yesterday was just kind of crazy, you know, with the awesome hike, the huge wildlife encounter, getting rained on, seeing Many Glacier Hotel and all that around here. By the time we got back to our campground, we were so tired we crashed out in the tent. I mean, for a good 2+ hours. And that was pretty much our day. Just kind of relaxed after that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we are on to our next adventure here in Glacier. We're going to be heading across the Going to the Sun Road this morning from the east to the west towards our next hiking destination. Let's go. The Going to the Sun Road is considered to be one of the most scenic drives in all of America. The route stretches nearly 50 miles across the park, crossing the Continental Divide at 6,646 feet high Logan Pass, passing through nearly every type of terrain in the park, along hairpin turns, through tunnels, all on an extremely narrow 2-lane road with sheer drop-offs.
Hey folks, like Glacier National Park.
Today we are doing the Trail of the Cedars to Avalanche Lake. The Trail of the Cedars is a wheelchair-accessible trail that passes through a forest of ancient western hemlocks and red cedars, which is situated on the eastern edge of the maritime climate of the Pacific Northwest. Some of these trees grow to heights of 100 feet, with a diameter of up to 7 feet, some of them being more than 500 years old. Yeah, my thoughts here so far on Glacier National Park is that it has kind of the best of everything. It's got the forest that rivals anything in the Pacific Northwest. It's got the jagged peaks, some of the best in the Rockies, and it's got some of the bluest and most beautiful lakes. I don't know what else a hiker could want, but I'm loving it. There's just something about these mountains that makes me forget about all the troubles in the world. Coming to these kind of places out in nature, that's my therapy. As Hike with Mike would say, that's good medicine. All right, Trail of the Cedars at Avalanche Lake. Great hike. Love that forest, just gorgeous. But we are back in the car now on the Going to the Sun Road. I think we're going to continue heading west and go see the west side of Glacier. Now, we'll probably run into a lot of traffic, obviously, here on this Going to the Sun Road, but also because of construction. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so we made our way down to the Apgar area. We're currently at the Apgar picnic area. We were going to go to the Apgar village, but it's so packed there's literally nowhere to park. So we came back to the picnic area, decided to check out Lake McDonald. All right, been here, done that. Moving on. All right, we are going to take the scenic route south of Glacier on Highway 2. Now, this is, of course, a longer route to get back to the east side, but this is the area that is bordered with the, I think it's called the Flathead National Forest. And that is where they have a lot of boondocking. It is where I originally planned for us to be spending the nights here before I broke down and got us some camping reservations. So I just kind of wanted to see what this looks like out here. I always enjoy a long scenic drive after a great hike. We could have gone back across the Going to the Sun Road, but I was truly curious to see what this area looked like, to kind of scope out the landscape for potential boondocking in the future. It's kind of a rainy Wednesday evening here in Glacier. We got a little bit bored and we got back to the campsite. We got showered up and everything, cleaned up, and then decided, let's take a ride just to start looking for some wildlife. Because I don't think the wildlife's going to come to us in the campground, huh, buddy?
Doubt it.
So we're out just cruising, going towards the Many Glacier area, just in case there's something out and about. Well, we had us two, we believe, black bears coming down here. We passed right by one on the side of the road, and by the time we realized it was there, we already passed it. And right down beyond that, the video that I did get was from another bear that we're 99% sure was probably a black bear up here in this meadow. But the grizzlies are still eluding us. The grizzlies didn't elude us for long. As we stopped to get pictures of this rainbow above Many Glacier Lodge, some eagle-eyed fellow travelers spotted this grizzly high up on the mountain above us. Definitely grizzly. So if we hadn't stopped for that rainbow, we would have missed this. Well, all right, I feel kind of fulfilled now. We stopped here to get some pictures and video of that awesome rainbow right above Many Glacier Lodge. And while parked here, somebody spotted a grizzly up on the mountainside off to the other side of where the rainbow is at. And yeah, we got to watch it for quite a while. Granted, it was quite a ways up there and everything, but I prefer my grizzly sightings from a distance. Good morning, fellow expeditionists. Day number 6 on the road. This morning, we have driven out to the Two Medicine area of Glacier National Park, and we're going to be hiking up to the Scenic Lookout. The Two Medicine area is an extremely popular hiking destination, and we were about to learn why. We would be hiking on the Mount Henry Trail, which is also a segment of the Continental Divide Trail. The round-trip hike to Scenic Point and back is just shy of 8 miles, with a nearly 2,400-foot elevation gain. While enjoying the views of the waterfall, a mama bighorn sheep and her lamb snuck up behind us, possibly the cutest wildlife encounter we've ever had. Half the reason we chose this trail was for the potential of some wildlife, and we already got it. That was quick. Love it. Yeah, this view doesn't suck. As we trekked across the alpine tundra, the wind really picked up, but our destination was in sight. Scenic Point dead ahead. Very windy up top. Took a little break, kind of sheltered from the wind, and almost took a nap there, except the ants started crawling on me. So now we're heading back. Hey folks, sorry for not having any real updates after our hike today at the Scenic Point there in the Two Medicine area, but we were pretty wasted after that hike, weren't we?
Yeah.
And that, and I got a lot of sun. I have sunscreen. I have a sun hat. Somehow neither one of them made it into my backpack, so we did not have them for our hike. So yeah, I got a lot of sun on my face and on my neck. Nothing serious, obviously, but anyway, so we got done with that hike, and like I say, we were pretty tired. We've done what, around 24 miles hiking here in these mountains in 3 days, which maybe the mileage itself doesn't sound like anything major, but still, it was with the elevation gain, particularly today, that really got to our legs a bit. So we were just tired and left, came up here back to St. Mary's, stop at Rising Sun Pizza and grabbed us some pizza for dinner, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
And that was awesome. I don't know if it was the fact that they have really good pizza or just the fact that we were so darn hungry, but either way, yeah, we scarfed that down. So between being tired from the hike and being full from all that pizza, we just came back to the campsite and just kind of went into a stupor, almost like a coma. And now that it's bedtime, I'm up and walking around again. But this is actually a super nice spot that we've got here at Johnson's of St. Mary's campground, because it's literally right across from the St. Mary's entrance to the park here at Glacier. I mean, well, I'll just show you. So yeah, that's the St. Mary's over there with all the mountains. Way over there is the KOA campground. We looked into that before I made the reservations here, but their prices are about twice as much. So, you know, all we need really here is a base camp, because we don't spend much time at the campground itself. We're just out here to get out into the park and out into nature looking for wildlife, huh, Catfish?
Yep.
Good morning, fellow expeditionists. This is our 5th day technically here in Glacier now. 4th day to be able to hike. And we actually slept in an extra hour this morning. Normally by this time we'd probably be already parked and out on the trail. But we needed some recuperation time from yesterday's hike. And I'm not even sure how much we can hike today, just because we are pretty sore still. But we are going out to Many Glacier, and we're just going to probably just hike around the lakes mostly. Something fairly flat land, just something that'll be kind of scenic and potential for wildlife, you know. Ah, famous last words. What we were about to do would not be considered taking it easy, nor would it be flat, but it would be our most scenic hike yet, with our scariest wildlife encounter ever. All right, so our week here at the very end of June in Glacier, there are several trail closures. The Cracker Lake Trail, which is highly recommended, is currently closed for bear activity. I know off of the Going to Sun Road, the Hidden Lake Trail also closed for bear activity. And then there is the Grinnell Glacier Trail that is currently closed at a certain point due to snow and ice danger. But that is what we are hiking today. We're actually going to go out as far as you can to get at least a view of potentially the glacier and just the epic scenery in the area and see what we can see. Our hike would be taking us along the shores of Swift Current Lake and Lake Josephine before climbing above Grinnell Lake. The cool morning air combined with the sunrise over the mountains really made it feel like we were hiking in some kind of surreal fairy tale. Growing up in the Midwest, I never would have believed such places of beauty actually exist. All right, we are approaching the Overlook for Grinnell Lake, but the rock walls just see in front of us. This one over here is Mount Grinnell. On that side is Mount Gould. On the backside of Mount Gould and all that is where the Highline Trail runs on the backside of it. We really wanted to do the Highline Trail, but to do the whole loop, you need that hiker shuttle running, and it's not running yet, so we're probably going to save that for our next time here in Glacier. One downside to curvy mountain trails like this, there's a lot of blind curves that you don't know what could be around the corner. Could there be more hikers? Or could there be some kind of wildlife? We were about to find out the hard way.
Run.
Hey bear! Hey bear! Stop. They could go up the trail. There's two grizzlies coming up the trail right at us. Hey bear! As we rounded this blind curve, two grizzly bears were running down the trail toward us. I literally made eye contact with the first bear. We scampered up the side and out of the way in case they continued on the trail right at us. I had my bear ready, but Kate, a few feet above me, saw them running up the side of the hill above us, away from us. And stuck up there.
Yeah. That's not one going up the trail that way.
Dude, it was running at us. May not have gotten that on film. The two grizzlies were coming running right down the trail at us until they saw us. We went up the hill. I'm not sure where they're at now. Whew, that's an adrenaline rush.
Running that way.
What?
I see one running that way.
All right, we're going back down. Be careful. All right. Yeah, they saw us and apparently went up the hill. Let's see. I'm just assuming both of them went up. Okay. I like seeing them from a distance, but not running down the trail right at us. Come on, Caden. Got it, buddy? You got it?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, they got to look at us. One just like, looked right at me in the face. And yeah. And they went up the hill, Caden says. Hey, bear. Yeah, they would have went up this way somewhere because they were coming right down this, barreling down. They were running. I wonder if they ran into the other hikers that was up there, took off from them, and then ran to us. All right. I think we're probably safe now. Yeah, we got our fix of grizzlies. Our fix of scenery. Look at that, Grinnell Lake. Wow. Still got an adrenaline rush going from that. You know, it's one thing to have one grizzly, but two grizzlies barreling down the trail right toward you. Wow. Though my adrenaline was pumping, we did everything right. We made a lot of noise. I had my bear spray at the ready. Don't let the possibility of wildlife encounters keep you from enjoying the outdoors. Encounters just like ours happen on a daily basis here in this park, without incident. Just be aware of your surroundings and follow the park suggestions on how to handle these encounters. Typically, the wildlife wants nothing to do with you. All right, we have made it to the end of maintained trail. Anything beyond this has not been cleared out yet for the season. It means there's a lot of snow and ice across the trails, potential trail damage. So as far as you're supposed to go, even though we have seen people go further, that's on them. Well, we thought we would take us a nice little break while we're up here. It's pretty good views, I'd say. So we made return boat trips, reservations to get back across the lakes. We are pretty tired today, of course, from all the hiking this week. So I just thought that would be a nice little relief. Easier way than hiking back, huh?
Yeah.
It'd probably be quicker for us to literally hike from this point to get back to our car. You know what? We paid for the boat ride. We're going to take the boat ride. Taking the boat back from the other end of the lakes was pretty nice. I enjoyed that a lot. Now we still have a half-mile hike back around Swift Current Lake here to get back to our, well, to the trailhead where our car's at. We have had 4 awesome days of hiking and exploring and wildlife encounters, and I almost kind of hate the fact that we wore ourselves out because there's so much more I would like to do here. What an amazing first trip to Glacier this has been. We headed back to our campground, fully worn out. We got rested up, got showered, and explored the campground, and went to the Johnsons of St. Mary's restaurant for dinner. The place is a bit overpriced, but the food was good, and it has a cool ambiance to it, very rustic. So the Johnson's Cafe, excellent food. A little pricey for our Midwestern taste, but you really get plenty of food for what you pay for. And the ambience inside that little cafe was unlike anything that I've ever been in. Good morning, fellow expeditionists. I believe this is now day 8 of our road trip. We have now got our camp packed up here at Johnson's of St. Mary's. It's been a great place to base camp for all of our adventures, but it is time for us to move on now. As much as we love these terrain and scenery and mountains here, our bodies are saying, it's time to go. So we're heading south, maybe towards Yellowstone, unless we change our minds on the way. We said goodbye to Glacier National Park and set a course heading south toward Gardner, Montana. Of course, Google Maps picked the fastest route to get us there. And if I had it to do over again, I would probably have found a longer but more scenic route through the mountains. But we saved gas and time going this way, and the mountains were always in sight to the west. Well, we made the drive down from northern Montana down to the southern edge of Montana here at the northern entrance to Yellowstone in Gardner. Tonight we're not going to be going into Yellowstone because the weather is kind of bad. It's getting late and we don't have a place to stay, so we're going to have to find somewhere to boondock. So that's what our evening's going to be. But in the meantime, we're just kind of killing time, checking out stuff here in Gardner. According to the iOverlander app, there should be a few boondocking sites just northeast of town on National Forest Road 493. So we headed up that way kind of early just to make sure we could find a spot. All right, so we came up, I think it's called Jardine Road. It's about 3.5 miles up from Gardner area. And a nice turnaround right here that we found that is marked in our iOverlander app as a boondocking site. So we grabbed it. There's room here that more people could show up tonight, but we've got our spot. So we're still in grizzly country, so we got to watch out for that. But we got a nice spot to spend the night and easy to get into the park in the morning. Well, good morning, folks. It is Sunday, July 2nd. This will be our 9th day, I believe, on the road now. We had a great night actually sleeping last night there on the hillside about 3.5 miles up from Gardner, Montana. I believe that is in the Gelatin National Forest, and forgive me if I mispronounced that. I haven't double checked it, but there were about 3 other campers that pulled into that circle there, and everybody was very respectful, and quiet time was quiet time. We were out probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock. And had no issues sleeping all night, did we?
Yeah.
So we were up at 5:30 this morning, come back down to Gardner, got us some breakfast. Now we're heading into the park. We have arrived at the Yellowstone River picnic area. We're going to do about a 4-mile loop hike here, one that we've never done before, of course. This should offer some pretty cool scenery, and we're hoping for some wildlife viewing. So the trail has around 460 foot elevation gain. I'm pretty sure almost all of it was right there at the beginning. I'm already out of breath. First thing in the morning. What's the first thing you notice out here at Yellowstone, Catfish?
It smells like sulfur.
The sulfur smell is the first thing that hits you. Hello, marmot family. I know they're just marmots, but there's like at least 6 that we spotted, so it's a whole marmot family, and they're absolutely adorable, cute little things. We might have found some bighorn sheep up here on the trail. We went in for a little bit of a closer look. Yellowstone advises to stay a minimum of 25 yards away from bighorn sheep, and we were well beyond that. But these girls didn't really seem to care about what Yellowstone says. They just didn't much like us being there. All right, they said that they don't like our presence up here watching them. They don't want the paparazzi, apparently. So we're trying to maintain the proper distance.
Which of these is the thing?
I don't know, let's keep going. This is the trail, buddy.
Okay.
That's a viewpoint. So other than having bighorn sheep move us along, this has got to be one of the most peaceful hikes I've ever done here at Yellowstone. Well, we've about reached the end of the Yellowstone River Overlook Trail before we head up and hit the Specimen Ridge. So this is kind of the peak view right here. You see the Yellowstone River Valley down below. Off behind the rocks on this side would be the Tower Falls. All right, we have come to the junction with Specimen Ridge. Now, if you take the full thing, it's quite a few miles long. It goes up that hill behind us, and it is a very long one-way hike. So we're not going to do that, obviously. We're taking Specimen Ridge back to continue our loop. I'm really enjoying this, though.
Yeah,
Literally only
cool.
one other set of hikers so far, and some very friendly wildlife. We just got our first bison sighting here off the Specimen Ridge Trail. Right up that hill. I have to move a little bit, see if I can get a better view.
Pretty cool that we got to see the Yellowstone bantha and is going away in the opposite direction.
Yellowstone bantha, huh?
Yep.
We had already seen some unique birds, marmots, ground squirrels, bighorn sheep, and of course a bison. But one thing I did not expect to see was a badger.
Yeah, I was not expecting to see a badge in the wild. This is the first time we've actually seen one. Did not actually expect them to be that big. Well, it's from a pretty long distance, but now we can add pronghorn to the list of animals we've seen on this trail.
We just finished the hike there on the Yellow River Overlook Trail and Specimen Ridge, and it really did exceed our expectations. We knew there was potential for wildlife, but we got a little bit of everything, and we probably couldn't ask for much better unless a pack of wolves come running out after the antelope or something, you know. So yeah, great time. We're now going to head south through Yellowstone, just enjoying the drive and the scenery and the bison on the side of the road and whatever else we can see along the way. All right, so we decided to swing in to a feature area that we've never been at. This is the third time in the last 6 summer seasons we've been at Yellowstone, but we've definitely not seen everything. We're at the West Thumb Geyser Basin. West Thumb Geyser Basin was pretty cool, mostly just the fact that it's on the side of the Yellowstone Lake, which is absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful scenery there, surrounded by the snow-capped mountains in the background, and just loved that part of it. As far as the geyser basin itself goes, it was, I hate to say this, but it was kind of mid compared to some of the other geyser basins here. You know, you go to Old Faithful or the Norris Geyser Basin, and those have actual geysers that are constantly, spitting up water, and as well as the mud pots and all of the cool fumaroles and everything else. So as far as features go, it's one of the lesser geyser basins in my personal opinion that I've been to here, but at the same time, such amazing scenery there beside the lake. As for the Tour-ons, let's see, we've seen one kid jump off of the boardwalk with nobody watching him or anything. Obviously dangerous. You want to lose a kid, that's a good way to do it. And then 2 people with dogs out there, one on a leash and one that was just carrying their dog. And we already know dogs are not allowed on the trails, any trails at Yellowstone National Park. Number 1, because of the wildlife. Number 2, because of all those features, like the water features back there, that are boiling hot and would boil a dog in nothing flat. So, that's just what we have in America. And of course, a lot of them could be, foreign visitors that are here, tourists, but regardless, they're still Tour-ons. All right, we are at Grant Village here in Yellowstone. We're going to go inside, maybe get us some lunch, and just kind of reevaluate what we're up to, because this is day 9, and quite frankly, we're feeling pretty tired, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're a little bit worn out, so we're going to kind of reevaluate what we're doing here and what's our next step. exited Yellowstone due east, heading towards the Cody, Wyoming area. We're currently in the Shoshone National Forest. Let's see where the road takes us. Interesting fact, the Shoshone National Forest is the first federally protected national forest in the United States, established in 1891, and covers 2.5 million acres. The landscape is simply stunning. This is the second time we have taken this route, having come through here in 2019, following the North Fork of the Shoshone River. To the right is Buffalo Bill Reservoir and the Buffalo Bill Dam, and up ahead is the Shoshone Canyon Tunnel, the longest tunnel in the state of Wyoming. It's actually a series of 3 connected tunnels that together measure nearly 3 miles long, connecting the Buffalo Bill State Park on the west to the town of Cody on the east. Alright, we got to Cody, Wyoming, home of the famous Buffalo Bill. Now, back in 2019 when we were here, we camped on the mountain just west of town, looking down on town. There's a great boondocking site, and we were thinking about redoing that. But we've still got probably 3 hours minimum of daylight here, not ready to go set up camp. So I think we're going to keep heading east a little bit, go camp out in the hot desert. BLM land in the McCullough Peaks Wild Horse Management Area. So yeah, it's kind of exciting. Something totally new for us to go boondocking in. He's like, what the hell is this thing? Hey there, number. I can't read your number. Yeah. Howdy-ho. There you go, big guy. That's a big one, yeah. You want to move somebody, and this cap's going to fall off. Yeah. Oh, man. That cow's got to go out. Make a move for him. Finding a spot out here to boondock in wasn't as simple as I was hoping. Not that there isn't plenty of places, there are, but the area I was hoping to get to is out by some really cool buttes. I mean, buttes that are like the form of Badland type buttes, you know. Unfortunately, one direction to get there had extreme ruts in the drive through there that we couldn't do. And then the other one had just like multiple herds of cows, and cows down around the butte, in fact. So we decided to not risk upsetting the herd, and we came back, backtracked a little bit, I'm just going to take this nice spot here. We still have all these buttes and formations around us, a little more distant, but they're still there. Well, we didn't quite get the awesome sunset we're hoping for just because of a few clouds that came up right there blocking the way. And I highly doubt that we're going to get any kind of true dark sky tonight because behind that little patch of clouds over there is a full moon. So even when the sky is going to be clear, it is going to be brightened up tonight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh well, we're still enjoying it out here. Literally one vehicle, a Sprinter van, has passed us out here. Nothing else. Nothing else. This is about as out in the middle of nowhere as you get. Good morning. Day number 10 on the road. Still here in kind of northwest Wyoming, the McCullough Wild Herd Management Area. And yeah, it was a super peaceful night camping in here. Just nothing but us and bird song in the night sky. Loved it. We're hitting the road now, continuing east. Finally seeing the McCullough Peaks Wild Horse Management Area in the sunlight really made me appreciate the beauty of this area. We never did see the mustangs that roam these lands, but a few pronghorn did come out to wish us safe travels. We pushed east on a route that would take us to the heart of Wyoming, through the Bighorn National Forest, and finally the Black Hills. We wouldn't be spending much time there, but when it's right on the way, you've got to swing through to enjoy the scenery. There's nothing better than a wildlife sighting to
give me an excuse to pull over and stretch my legs. Definitely being watched. We made our way to eastern Wyoming and decided to swing up to America's first national monument, Devil's Tower. There's something majestic about when you first see this monolithic rock sentinel, originally formed by magma that forced its way through layers of sedimentary rock, only to be exposed after millions of years of erosion.
Alright, so we obviously decided to take the scenic route home from our trip up to Montana and Wyoming. So we're actually at Devil's Tower right now. Of course, we have been here before. 4 years ago, we did a couple of the major trails around the area. So we're not really out here to do any hiking today, but we still wanted to swing by just because it's such a unique feature. Prairie dogs are always cute. I don't care who you are. We may have made a mistake coming here. So right now we're stuck in traffic just trying to get up to the visitor center. Very limited parking apparently. So yesterday we were in America's first national park. Today we're at America's first national monument. However, I would consider this a monumental fail just because it is so busy here. The traffic was backed up 1.5 miles from the visitor center because there's just not nearly enough parking. It is a small national monument, just with a huge feature that's really cool to see. And you know, we've experienced it before, so it's not a big loss. And we still got to see the huge monument, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
For the record, there are other parking lots that visitors can park at and hike up to the tower and the visitor center. But since we've been there before and hiked the trails, we decided not to overcrowd the monument further with our presence, so we moved on toward the Black Hills.
Alright, we are in Hill City, South Dakota. Now, mostly we're just slowly making the trek back east towards home, but we're trying to take the scenic route going home. And of course, when you're doing that, you kind of want to stop once in a while. Just like, you know, Devil's Tower. Oh, we've been there. Nope, got to see it. Passing by Black Hills. Let's drive through, you know. So that's what we're doing. We're just kind of revisiting.
We wandered through town, checking out the shops and the street art, then made our way to the Black Hills Institute of Geological Research Museum.
This place looks familiar.
Yeah.
What makes this place special is that it is owned and operated by the paleontologists that actually go out there and excavate these fossils. In fact, these are the people that discovered some of the world's most famous dinosaur fossils, including the most complete T-Rex fossil ever discovered, Sue the T-Rex, on display at Chicago's Field Museum of Natural History.
Dinosaur 13, good movie, good documentary. Tells how the largest T-Rex ever discovered, Sue, was taken from those who found it. What I really like about the Black Hills Institute Museum is that it was put together by the actual paleontologists who discovered most of them. In fact, this is the location that they bring a lot of their discoveries back to chip away at all the rock and pull them out with the stone. This whole section of crinoids here comes from Montgomery County, Indiana. That's where Crawfordsville is at, Shade State Park, that vicinity along all of these, Indiana. No matter how old you get, dinosaurs will always be cool. So I'm not sure what's up next. We're just kind of sauntering around. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 2.5 shell. Turtle power. Good times here in Hill City, South Dakota, but the forecast is not in our favor. We have got thunderstorms with potential damaging winds and hail coming in this evening, and it's already getting pretty dark. So I'm not so sure we're going to be sticking around very long here in the Black Hills.
The radar showing some serious thunderstorms coming through over the next several hours, so we headed east, looking to find our boondocking site for the night. Buffalo Gap National Grassland has a pretty famous dispersed camping area on the outskirts of Badlands National Park that I've always wanted to camp at, though preferably under better conditions.
We have arrived in the Buffalo Gap National Grassland just to the north of Badlands National Park. And this is where we'll be boondocking tonight. It's a great spot, but it's very busy. Lots of other boondockers out here, mostly campers, big trailers and such, but you're right on the side. The only thing is we're not really going to get to enjoy it because of these storms moving in. It's already very damp and wet out here, so we're probably just going to buckle down and weather it out. Continue our adventure tomorrow. Well, good morning, fellow expeditionists. Day 11 on our road trip. Today we are in Wall, South Dakota.
And we're going to check out the world's biggest tourist trap, Wall Drug.
And for the record, this is not our first time at Wall Drug. We stopped here in 2019. And yeah, that's how we know it's a wee bit overrated for how much hype it gets.
While driving toward Badlands National Park from any direction, you will see dozens of signs for Wall Drug for more than 100 miles before you get there. So when we first stopped here in 2019, we had expected it to be more than what it is, which is basically just a square block of gift shops and a couple places to eat. The only thing that kind of makes it special is the rustic decorations and Old West ambiance they've tried to create. Overall, it's the very definition of tourist trap.
You got to walk it by yourself.
Ride the jackalope, catfish. Old-fashioned photo gallery. The actual drugstore is closed. So yeah, so that's Wall Drug, where somehow they managed to turn a bunch of tourist shops into a tourist destination.
It's not a huge place, but it's got some neat stuff.
All right, this is pretty much our last day of vacation before we head home. And of course, we are in the Black Hills, South Dakota area, and for whatever reason, when we come here, we bring rain. And it is very much drizzly, misty, rainy out. So we're going to try to cruise through Badlands. We had hoped to do a hike out there, but we know that when it's wet, it turns into this super thick clay mud. So, I don't know. We'll see what we can do here on our last day. All right, the weather is not cooperating for us, but I think we finally found at least some kind of wildlife out here. We thoroughly enjoyed seeing the bighorn sheep and this amazing landscape at Badlands National Park. But we decided, with the bad weather and all the mud, to just keep on moving. We were tired and very satisfied with all that we had experienced on this trip so far. So we continued eastward toward home, but we had one more stop to make while we were here in South Dakota. Well, we have escaped from the Badlands and we're still in South Dakota. Well, when you're here, if we're going to hit roadside attractions and tourist traps, then the world's only Corn Palace has to be included. Located in Mitchell, South Dakota, Corn Palace is an auditorium and gymnasium that is used for festivals, stage shows, dances, basketball tournaments, and more. But the main attraction are the murals made of corn and other grains. It doesn't get more Midwest than that. Holy cow. All of that is made of actual ears of corn. Okay, so we came here as more of a joke. I gotta admit, I'm a little bit impressed at the artwork that's gone into these corn cobs. So it's kind of fitting, us heading back to Indiana and corn country, that we would end our adventure here at the Corn Palace.
We appreciate you guys coming along to see our adventure.
Till next time.
Peace out.
Thanks for coming along on our trip, and if you're interested in the full-length individual hike videos, be sure to check out our playlist, Indiana to Montana. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. There's plenty more adventures to come. Peace out.